Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Michelle Sacker, Chief Operating Officer at Fold & Company. Welcome to our webinar, Beyond Sales and Strategy, where we'll be discussing how to leverage competitive intelligence, or CI, across your entire business. I'm delighted to be joined by three of my colleagues whose extensive experience and deep understanding of CI will provide valuable insights for our discussion. Each of them will be sharing a case study of projects they've worked on. Prakhar Bagmar, Head of Business and Strategy Research, Parul Mehra, Vice President of Business Research, and Shiv Nair, Vice President of Consulting Services. For our audience, if you have any questions during our discussion, please enter them in the questions box at the side of your screen, and we'll try to answer them at the end of each segment. Keep in mind that we are recording today's session and we'll send you a link to the replay. Thank you for being here, and let's get started. So many of you may be familiar with the concept of the value chain, first coined by the strategist Michael Porter, which is a series of steps that create a product or service from design to delivery. We will loosely use this framework to look at the various functions of an organization. As you look at the schematic on the screen, you will see a generalization of most companies, where product development starts the cycle leading to production or manufacturing, then marketing of the product or service, sales driving the revenue of the business, and finally, customer service. Strategy, which you see to the left of the cycle, informs the direction of the business, with functions that support the entire business, including HR, procurement, legal, finance, and IT, shown along the bottom. When we speak with CI professionals, we understand that CI is frequently leveraged as sales enablement or as a source of information for strategy groups. But we believe that all functions of an organization should consider how to leverage CI to maintain competitiveness. In today's webinar, we will look at actual examples of how CI can be used in the front-end innovation stage of product development, how CI can be used by a manufacturing division, how CI can be used to inform customer experience, which is frequently part of the marketing domain, and of course, how CI can be used to inform sales strategy. Before we begin, it's worth mentioning how competitive intelligence is gathered through both secondary and primary research. We've got a number of different examples here of different sources and methodologies. And our first example in today's webinar will discuss a new frontier of CI, pulling in unstructured secondary data through unusual sources and interpreting it through data science and AI. So let's get started with the first step in our value chain. We're moving to the next case study, and if we can move the slides forward, great, perfect. And I'm stepping in for Shashank Kulshrestha, our head of analytics and AI. And as I mentioned, this study will show how alternative methodologies can be applied to gain competitive intelligence. Let's take a look. So we see that competitive intelligence is a game changer for innovation and product development. It helps you to keep up with shorter product life cycles and to minimize R&D costs by quickly gaining deeper insights into customer sentiment and emotions, changing preferences and behavior. Like a GPS, CI provides guidance for your product development journey. As a potential alternative to expensive and time-consuming customer and trend research, you can tap into what your target audience thinks and says through alternate data sources which provide unprompted opinions. Platforms like Google, e-commerce sites like Amazon, social media, and other online communities are gold mines of honest, unfiltered insights into customer needs and expectations, not only for your products, but also for your competitors' products. Being able to analyze and interpret these masses of unstructured data yield valuable insights, which can help answer critical questions such as, are we solving the right problems? Are we missing something customers truly care about? And of course, How do we differentiate or stack up against the competition? This intelligence helps you to prioritize product features and develop products that meet and exceed customer expectations, critical in today's fast-paced markets where product life cycles just keep getting shorter. So now we're going to take a look at an actual example of how CI has been leveraged for innovation. Our client wanted to develop the next generation of home plumbing products, such as shower fixtures and water filters. So unless you've recently renovated your bathroom or your kitchen, you may not realize that this market is extremely dynamic with rapidly changing customer behaviors and shorter product life cycles. Our client needed a competitive intelligence solution that could help them learn from competitors' successes and failures, and identify unmet needs and potential areas for innovation. So to achieve these objectives, we met with the client team to understand their innovation pipeline and to select the relevant competitive products based on features, apparent marketplace success, as well as the availability of data, in this case, customer reviews. We then polled and analyzed over 100,000 reviews. We created a database, analyzed the reviews leveraging data science and AI, and visualized the data and analysis through a dashboard. This allowed the client's innovation and marketing teams to easily explore the findings and insights. Our analysts also highlighted the statistically meaningful data to the client. So key features of this analysis and allowed the client to, first of all, understand keyword relationships and associated sentiment, compare sentiment across competing products, and review a list of comprehensive and potential innovations across such areas such as product performance, packaging, pricing, and customer service. So to get a little bit more specific, one of the categories of products we analyzed was an under-the-sink compact water filter. Here is what we uncovered from competitive intelligence. In terms of customer delight factors, quick installation and excellent purification performance were the strongest drivers of customer satisfaction. We identified some new product use cases through this analysis, and we found that customers were actually using these filters in unexpected ways, like in RVs and in pet water systems, far beyond the intended kitchen use. It's really interesting to actually Google pet water systems and setups that people have for their pets, and they're concerned about water filtration for their pets as well. And finally, what was critical for our innovation client, we identified some unmet needs. So 4 standard use cases that we just mentioned, product fit and compatibility were major pain points. In other words, if our client could design plumbing fittings for the filter for these new use cases that I mentioned, such as RV or pet water stations, it would open up new categories of customers. We also learned that a segment of the customers expected these filters to reduce TDs, which are total dissolved solids, not just chlorine. So total dissolved solids impact the hardness of the water. Some of you may know you have a separate filter that can help soften your water. And the reason that's important is because hard water can actually be tough on skin and hair. And since the current filters couldn't do this, these customers were constantly dissatisfied, which opened up a new opportunity for our client. So using these insights gleaned from competitive intelligence, our client was able to develop new products tailored to these unmet needs while significantly cutting their R&D costs. So I'm going to pause for a moment and take a look and see if we have any questions that have come in. Great, I see a couple of excellent questions. Let me address them. The first question that came in is, what if my product or brand lacks sufficient competition or online reviews? Can this approach still assist? So, absolutely. So, if your brand lacks sufficient competition or actually the online reviews to do the analysis, we can still use this approach by looking at available data emerging trends, and leveraging insights from adjacent markets or similar products. We find actually that there's a lot of valuable information from similar products, the same way strategists would look at adjacent markets for their own products. It can also work with data sourced from primary surveys. So if you are conducting primary quantitative work and you have lots of open-ended survey questions, they also can capture honest opinions, and we can leverage the same techniques here. I hope that answers your question. We have another question that's come in. This is a terrific one. The example you gave was a B2C example. Can the same approach be used for a B2B? That's an excellent question. And the answer is yes, this approach can be used in the B2B environment. While there are marketplaces for large industrial products, actually online e-commerce marketplaces, there are also other sources of data that you could consider. For example, software and SaaS companies are frequently reviewed on professionally oriented publications, and we can just as easily pull the data from there to interpret it. Okay, I think that's it for the questions for this case study. So again, thank you for listening to this case study on innovation and for asking questions. Now we are going to move on to the second step of our value chain, which is production and manufacturing. Prakhar Bagmar, Head of Business and Strategy Research at Fold, is going to look at how CI can be successfully applied to improve manufacturing and process efficiency, illustrated with a case study for an FMCG giant. Over to you, Prakhar.
Thanks a lot, Michelle. Hi everyone. So talking about manufacturing, it thrives on precision, efficiency, and innovation, right? And in the current times, you need intelligence to stay ahead and build competitive advantage on these parameters. And this is where competitive intelligence becomes essential, acting as industry's eyes and ears to enhance operations as well as innovations, right? For example, by analyzing competitors' production techniques, emerging technologies, and best practices, CI helps manufacturers identify automation opportunities, right? Or to minimize waste or to optimize efficiency, right? It also ensures that organizations stay ahead of AI, IoT, and other disruptive technology trends, enabling similar and smarter investment in these technologies, right? Also, CI strengthens supply chain resilience by tracking competitors' sourcing strategy, helping manufacturers mitigate disruptions and optimize procurement. So, in summary, we can say that CI isn't just about reacting, it is about anticipating shifts and acting faster. And to bring this to life, let me share a case study showcasing how robust CI resulted in measurable impact for a large FMCG player, specifically a beverage company. uh, so moving on, yeah. Uh, just to just to set the context, in the highly competitive beverage industry, even minor inefficiencies can lead to major productivity losses. And one of our client, a global beverage manufacturer, suspected that its hot filling process efficiency lagged behind competitors by almost 15%. Though it had this hypothesis, it didn't had required data to validate this, and also didn't had proper strategy on how to bridge this gap, right, if it exists in reality. And just to provide you some definition on hot filling, so hot filling commonly used for juices, teas, and sport drinks, and it involves heating liquids to kill bacteria before bottling them in different SKUs, right? So this is a very complex process. It requires precise temperature control, rapid filling, and cooling, all critical for greater efficiency, right? So the company wanted to benchmark its process against competitors to uncover best practices in different areas such as flavor changeovers, process optimization, and downtime reduction, right? And this exercise was not just about diagnosis, it was about identifying actionable levers to close the efficiency gap. If we move further, to generate impactful insights, we took an integrated approach, combining client inputs, external research, and CI methodologies. To start with, we engage with clients' operation leaders and engineers to assess their hot fill process and establish a baseline, right? Once the baseline was established, the next step was we conducted deep secondary research, which include analyzing patents, industry reports, and plant case studies. We also look at a lot of plant videos on YouTube and competitor websites, right? However, the most valuable insights came from industry insiders like supply chain managers, production heads, and line supervisors who shared unique perspective on competitor strategies on different areas. Again, for example, changeovers, equipment life cycle, and efficiency optimization. Overall, the robust methodology helped us triangulate insights from multiple sources and deliver actionable insights on different area. And talking about actionable insights, let's look at some of these findings. For example, equipment life cycle, right? So the client replaced equipment every 15 years, while competitors extended it to 18 to 20 years with regular and timely maintenance, right? Another key learning was supplier diversification, right? So competitor used 2 to 3 suppliers for flexibility, while the client relied on just one. Another interesting finding was how top competitors use the flavor compatibility metrics to sequence similar flavors one after another, which was helping them reduce downtime by almost 2 to 3%, right? And also few competitor extended sanitation cycle to 120 hours as against our client's sanitation cycle of 72 to 96 hours. And this extension was without any quality issues as well. And they were also combining sanitation with maintenance to further cut down time, right? So competitors treated any 10 minutes breakdown as a major stoppage, triggering immediate root cause analysis, while the client used a 15 minutes benchmark, right? So these were some of the insights, and there were many more that provided clear pathways to reducing downtime, optimizing production, and boosting efficiency. All of this had tangible impact on client business. And just to look at few impacts, by fine-tuning operations, which includes adjusting sanitation cycles, optimizing maintenance, and smarter equipment decisions, the client increased uptime by 10%, which means that more machines were running, more bottles were filled, and there were fewer interruptions, right? Unplanned downtime dropped significantly due to structured breakdown analysis, keeping production lines running longer and meeting top competitors' standards, right? And just to note, the impact wasn't just operational, right? With fewer disruptions, consumer complaints also decreased. Hence, both efficiency and brand reputation improved, right? So, overall, this case study highlights how CI isn't just about tracking competitor, it's about leveraging insights to drive real measurable change for our clients, right? Uh, I hope this provides a clear glimpse into how CI transforms manufacturing. But thanks a lot for your time. Over to you, Michelle, again.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Parker. This is really fascinating. And I was really amazed actually at the metrics that you were able to uncover as part of this. And I think that people don't necessarily typically think that competitive intelligence should be thought about for manufacturing to really gain best practices. But this case study is a clear demonstration of that. And I'm going to check for questions now. So we have a question that came in that is actually similar to what I just mentioned, which is given that there is very little direct benchmarking data often available in this field, or sometimes it's extremely confidential. How did you validate the accuracy of the competitor insights that you gained as part of your research?
Hmm, great question, actually. And the answer to this is that we relied on multiple sources of information to ensure accuracy, right? So, for example, first we gathered internal benchmark from clients, and those benchmarks set a baseline for us, right? Then we analyzed patents, industry reports, plant videos, and case studies to identify best practices. And also, the most valuable insights came from primary discussions with industry insiders, like I already mentioned, for example, plant managers, supply chain experts, and production heads, right? And these discussions provided us first-hand knowledge of competitor practices, right? And by cross-referencing these findings and looking for consistency across sources, we ensured that insights were both credible and accurate, right? So I think in summary, the cross-referencing and using multiple sources ensured the accuracy of the outcomes. So,
Yeah, no, that's great. And we had put up a slide right up front talking about the different types of sources of secondary and primary information. And of course, it wasn't an exhaustive list, but you mentioned a couple that I just want to sort of repeat to make sure that they didn't get buried, which was actually the fact that you check patents, right? And patents that have been issued. That's really valuable. And the fact that they're on YouTube, there are tons and tons of videos that are available. So you could actually go in and watch videos of plants is pretty fascinating that you can actually gain some competitive intelligence there. We see that quite frequently, so I'm glad you mentioned that here. Let me go to the next question that I see that has come in. Okay, here's a question about post the research. So how did the client ensure smooth implementation of these efficiency improvements across its manufacturing plants?
okay, so we did work along with client for implementation, right? And implementation started with a phased approach, right? So the client first ran pilot programs in select plants to test changes in sanitation cycles, changeover processes, and maintenance protocols, right? So there were also training programs which were rolled out to prepare plant managers and other operators with the best practices. And to ensure adoption, right, there were also KPIs which were well defined and closely monitored. And quick wins, like say minor process tweaks or immediately reduced downtime, right, helped build momentum in some cases, right? And then success from pilot phase then guided a broader rollout, ensuring scalability and minimal disruption throughout the implementation phase. So it was a step-by-step implementation. Out and out, it took between 8 to 12 months from start
Mm.
to to end, right? So yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's almost like it was a little bit of a change management process too, because the plants had been used to working in a certain way for so long that that having that pilot, rolling it out, and gaining that kind of acceptance was very important. Okay, that's terrific. And
Yeah.
wow, what an incredible story leveraging competitive intelligence. We may come back to you if there are any questions, but for now, that's it. Thank you so much, Parker. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
your time today. And again, I'm just going to remind people if they have questions that they think of after the fact, please go ahead and send them to us because we will, if we don't get to them today, we will try to get to them and reach out to you independently. Okay, terrific. So you may remember that the next step in our value chain after we've done some product development and we've actually gone to manufacturing is marketing. So I am joined by Parul Mehra, who is Fold's Vice President of Business Research, and she's going to discuss how competitive intelligence can be applied by marketing teams to develop successful strategies aimed at specific target audiences, illustrated with a case study of a global F&B food and beverage retailer who was examining the customer digital experience. Over to you, Parul.
Thanks, Michelle, and hello, everyone. I want to start with saying that CI plays a very important role in enhancing customer experience. These days, having a great product or service isn't enough. Customers expect seamless experiences, personalized recommendations, and brands that truly understand them. If a business can't deliver that, customers won't hesitate to look elsewhere. This is where competitive intelligence comes in. Instead of simply reacting to market changes, CI help businesses stay ahead by tracking industry trends, understanding competitors, and using real time insights to refine their strategies. It's not just about knowing what others are doing, it's about understanding what customers want before they even ask for it. Now, when the companies use these insights effectively, they are not just keeping up with the competition, they are setting the standard for what great customer experience should look like. At a time when customer experience are constantly evolving, competitive intelligence isn't just an advantage, it's essential. Today, I will walk you through a case study that perfectly illustrates this. A leading coffee house chain that leverage competitive intelligence to enhance its digital customer experience and stay ahead and in an increasingly competitive market. Moving on, imagine you are standing in a long queue at your favorite coffee shop trying to place an order during the morning rush. Now you glance at your phone and wonder how it would have saved you so much of time and effort if only this process was faster. Now think about it from a business perspective, where it all takes is one better experience to lose a customer to a competition. As a leading coffee house chain, our client had already made huge strides in digital innovation, but competition was also catching up. The question was clear: how could they stay ahead of the digital revolution and continue leading the market? To find the answer, they turned to competitive intelligence. They wanted a deeper understanding of where they stood in the digital landscape, how their competitors were evolving, and what customers truly expected. And what they discovered led to a game changing improvement in their digital strategy. To uncover insights, our team immersed in the customer journey, not just by reading reports, scrolling the competitor websites, and analyzing market trends, but by becoming the customer themselves in a mystery shopping exercise. We downloaded competitor apps to test their functionalities from a user perspective. We didn't just glance through the offerings, we interacted with them as real customers, placing orders through various channels such as in store, curbside, drive through, third party delivery, and more to experience the entire service flow. Simultaneously, we analyzed various metrics from secondary research such as financial performance, app functionalities, ordering methods, and payment options. By deploying these two approaches, we saw firsthand what worked and what didn't, and what set our competitors apart. This approach gave us a holistic view of the customer experience across multiple touchpoints, revealing patterns, strengths, and weaknesses that would have been impossible to uncover through only secondary research. From this deep dive into the competitive landscape, a clear strategy emerged. We identified several areas where the coffee house chain could enhance its customer experience to not only match but outpace competitors. First one being competitive differentiation through personalization. So we all know that customers today don't want just coffee. They want their coffee made exactly to their liking and delivered exactly when they need it. In business terms, this translates into personalization. Nowadays, convenience and experience are paramount. Customers expect brands to remember their favorite orders, suggest relevant add-ons, and offer incentives that align to their habits. We found out that competitors were already making strides in improving their personalization strategies, which made it more critical for our client to step further. To achieve this, we proposed three key personalization driven enhancements, such as AI driven personalized offer, hyper personalized menus, and enhanced loyalty program. The second core area we explored was innovation in ordering and payment methods. Digital convenience has become a major differentiator in today's market, and for our client, the challenge was to redefine what a truly frictionless digital experience looks like. Through our competitive intelligence research, we noticed that while competitors were improving their digital ordering, none had integrated the next level innovation that needed to deliver a seamless, AI driven, and socially engaging experience. This insight helped us identify key opportunities for our client. We proposed three transformative enhancements, which were voice enabled ordering, biometric payments, and features like group ordering and split payments. Lastly, we delved into omni-channel experience enhancement. We all know that consumers expect seamless, integrated experiences across all touch points, whether it's online, offline, or mobile transactions. Customers no longer differentiate between channels and they expect businesses to provide frictionless, connected journey. While many competitors that we were studying had already made huge significant progress in building omni-channel strategies, our competitive intelligence revealed significant gaps in our client approach that needed to be addressed to meet the evolving market demands and customer behaviors. To close these gaps, we recommended several key innovations aimed at enhancing digital and in store experiences, improving operational efficiency, and boosting customer engagement. The impact served as a wake up for our client. For years, the coffee house chain had viewed itself as a leader and innovator in the industry, behaving, believing their forward looking approach had positioned them ahead of the competitors and set the standard for customer experience. However, competitive intelligence revealed a surprising truth. They were actually lagging behind in key areas we discussed. Their once innovative strategies had become outdated, while competitors had already implemented solutions the coffee house had yet to adopt. After implementing the recommended strategies, the coffee house chain experienced stronger customer engagement and retention and also witnessed a 15% increase in digital sales and higher spending per transaction due to AI driven recommendations. This case study underscores that competitive intelligence isn't just about tracking competitors, it's about using market insights to enhance customer experience. At the core, it wasn't just about improving digital ordering, it was about understanding how changing customer expectations and industry dynamics shape the customer experience and leverage that knowledge for strategic decision making. I hope this helped everyone to understand why CI is important in the marketing domain. And I'll hand it over to Michelle and happy to take up any questions.
Thank you so much, Parul. And I think, honestly, fascinating. And we can all relate to thinking about improving our customer experience when we're waiting for that morning coffee. Thank you so much for sharing this. So I definitely want to open it up to questions. I see this one question here that has come in, which says, why is personalization becoming a key differentiator in the food and beverage industry? I mean, have we all just become that much more demanding? What do you think?
So, Michelle, here's the thing. Personalization is seriously changing the game in the food and beverage industries. As the case study also suggested, that customers want more than just a decent product, they want experiences that feel like they are designed just for them.
Mm.
While everything is going digital, it's not enough to just sell a great coffee or a delicious burger. People want brands to know what they like before they even ask for it. Now we can ask, why is this happening? As you mentioned, Michelle, there's so much out there, whether it's a quick meal from a fast food chain or a fancy cup of coffee from the local cafe. Customers have endless options. So if a food and beverage player wants to stand out, the personalization is their secret weapon.
Mm.
And let's not forget about tech side of the things. AI and machine learning make it super easy for businesses to track what people like, what they want next, and whether it's based on past purchases, special dietary needs, or even your location. It makes the whole experience feel so much more relevant. Lastly, I would like to say it's not about the food anymore. It's about the how the whole experience makes your customer feel. And that's where the personalization is becoming really, really important. I
Yeah, I
hope I
mean, I
answered.
think, yeah, no, there's great answers to that question, Parul. And I think, when you think about the young folks who are getting their coffee, and I think actually even COVID had something to do with it because once people came out of that kind of sensory deprivation time of COVID and being under lockdown, that experience was ever so much more important. So I think that might explain some of the lag with our client and them being the leader. Great answers. Let me take a quick look and see. We do have another question here.
Okay.
So the question is, how can companies strategically respond when competitive intelligence reveals that their current strategies are no longer effective, as seen with the coffee house chain? I mean, I think this can be in any case, but please respond as you maybe in the context of this case study.
Sure, sure. The moment you realize that your strategy isn't cutting it anymore, it can be a real eye opener. But it's also a chance to get creative and step up the game. That's exactly what our coffee house chain did. When they recognized that their digital experience was falling behind, they didn't sit back. They jumped into action. Instead of waiting, they quickly began testing and implementing new features with what customers were now expecting. They specifically focused on the high impact area, which made rapid improvements. I would say the key takeaway is agility. Coffee House didn't wait for the next big thing to happen. They took insights and acted fast, adjusting their strategy before it was too late.
I
Overall,
think that's great advice. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I would just say, I'll just want to end up by saying being proactive and adaptable is the key to long-term success in today's moving market.
Absolutely. And I was just going to agree with you, sort of be in violent agreement and say it's never too late, right? I mean, sometimes we uncover competitive intelligence and our clients, you could almost see the look in their eyes. There's a little bit of a panic. What are we going to do? How can we catch up? There's always a way. And the key thing is stay on top of things. Make sure that you can include competitive intelligence as you regularly scheduled activities. Don't just wait for a moment in time where it's too late. But if it happens, there's always something that can be done. And
Absolutely.
yeah, terrific. Wonderful example. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time, Parul. And now that we've completed sort of this marketing segment, we're going to move on to the next part of our value chain, which is sales. So I'm happy to include Shiv Nair. Welcome, Shiv, Fold's Vice President of Consulting Services, who's going to look at the different ways that sales teams can use CI, showing how it was successfully applied within one of our clients in the healthcare industry. Thanks, Shiv. Over to you now.
Thanks a lot, Michelle. Great case studies. Till now, I think my colleagues have really covered a lot of things. CI is definitely important, as we've seen, for product development, innovation, and marketing. But sales is really where you can see tangible results from your CI strategy because it gives you numbers. And as you can see, different sales teams use competitive intelligence in different ways, but it all boils down, I think we've been talking about it also, is how you understand your competitor and how you identify the market opportunities or understand your client. So those are really the two things, because when you are a salesperson and when you are talking to your client and trying to sell something, obviously you want to know what your product is and what are the features and the benefits of your product, but you would also want to know about your competitor. What are the weaknesses or where you can play, what things can you highlight. So competitive intelligence really arms the sales teams with the power to convince the end client about your product. As I said, understanding competitor strengths and weaknesses really helps a sales team to identify which levers to pull. For example, and taking a healthcare example again, if a pharmaceutical product has a very good efficacy profile, but it really lacks on a safety profile, or it didn't have a lot of data to back it, those are the things that a salesperson would really highlight when they are talking to a physician in their office. Um, those are the things that you would really use as your USPs against your competitor. Identifying market opportunities when you are talking to physicians, and this is about understanding your client or your physician in this case again. You want to understand, for example, do they agree with the safety profile? Do they agree with the efficacy profile? Is there anything that's lacking? Is the drug working on all sorts of patient profiles? So all that, you want to understand, because again, the ultimate messaging that you want to give uh, is based on all that CI knowledge that you gather. All that will, as I said, enhance your product positioning. You want to position your product. Is it, is it has a better safety profile, has a better efficacy profile? Does the device that your product comes in helps you administer in a better way? All those things, will help you position your product and create your space in the market. um, Sales teams are also boots on the ground, So what they can also do is loop back all the information that they are getting about the client and the market back to all the teams that we have heard of. For example, the product development team, be it the marketing team, and the manufacturing that we went to, saw a case study about. So they can really be the eyes and ears of the whole organization and really loop back all the information that they're gathering, really contributing to CI of the whole organization itself. So those are a few ways in which we've seen sales teams use comparative intelligence. Today we'll go through one of the examples in healthcare. Um, so to set up a context here, the biopharma company held a major share in the hemophilia market. They were the major players, but there was a new entrant that was about to launch a product which looked like that it had a better efficacy profile. Therefore, it was causing some nervousness for the client. What they really wanted to do, and they had pretty clear agendas what they wanted out of the CI. First, obviously, they wanted to realign their sales territories by understanding what key accounts will the competitor target, what regions will they play in, and then based on the information that we gather through CI, they also wanted to update their refine their marketing message about the new drug, and then enhance the effectiveness of their sales force by training them and equipping them with all the information that they need to answer the questions of, for example, physicians. Ultimately, the goal here was to maintain the market share that they currently hold against the newer competitor that would come in. So what we did was, as a solution, we created a whole CI program for our client. CI program, we talked about how secondary research and primary research are used to gather all the information. Michelle and my colleagues have already talked about that a lot. Those are the key methodologies that we generally use. But again, within secondary, for example, what we did was we looked at the competitor's website, and not just that, we also looked at their social media handles to understand what is the messaging around the new product, what are the things that they are highlighting about their product, and what are the types of studies that they are backing their claims with. So all that information, again, understanding the competitor's messaging. We also analyzed and used the data from, for example, LinkedIn and the company's website about job openings to understand what are the key markets and ultimately the key areas that they will be targeting. So that gave us sort of a map in terms of how their sales team will look like, and how our client should design their sales team to counter that. The other part was primary research, and again, that really helped us to understand the unmet need of the market. We interviewed a lot of KOLs to understand what are their current prescription behaviors. Do they see any, for example, unmet needs in the market? Um, what are their perceptions about new drugs that are upcoming? And what is the process within their practice setting to prescribe a particular medication? So all that information really helped us to identify if there's any unmet need or is there any concern about the new product which is coming in the market within the minds of the KOLs. So these were two traditional methods, that we used. But conference coverage, although being traditional, we believe is still a very, very good source of information, because when you visit a conference, you really hear from the horse's mouth. You can visit the competitor's booth and can see the messaging clearly. You can talk to their salespeople. You can also talk to a lot of KOLs, see a paper that's being presented, and understand what the mood about different products and is in the market. Uh, all that information that we gathered through secondary, primary, and conference coverage was ultimately designed for a wargaming workshop where all the sales team obviously came in, but there was, as we saw my colleagues talking about, people from manufacturing, marketing, product development, market access, everybody was present to really design an organizational level strategy to counter the new entrant. So, what was the impact? After all this CI gathering of information, really kind of coming up with a solution. Ultimately, the client refined their marketing message and they highlighted the unique benefits of their product, which in this case was that the competitor product didn't have enough representation of all the patient population of hemophilia, and the client was able to also substantiate their claim by a lot of real world evidence that they had gathered over the years because their drug had been present in the market, and they were able to substantiate all that, all the efficacy data and the safety data of their product, backing with real world evidence. So they were able to hold on to the market share for at least 1 or 2 years after the new product was launched. They also realigned their sales territories, really targeting on the areas which they wanted to protect, the key accounts that they wanted to protect. Um, there were some areas which they thought they would not be able to make an impact, and it was better to let go. So really realigning the whole sales strategy in that way. And then, as I said before, they also trained their sales team because, again, when you are going in the field to sell your product, it is not just about talking about your own features about your own product, but you should also be very aware of what the competitor product is, where they lack, what's their weakness, what their strengths are, so that you can answer the questions from your customers in a better way. So all that again, really help them maintain their market share overall. And again, this is just one case study where sales teams can use CI. There are different ways where they can, and maybe we'll get another chance to talk about it. I'm open to any questions right now.
Hi, I'll jump in. Yes, I think we seem to have lost Michelle, so I apologise for that.
No problem.
But thank, thank you, Shiv. That was a really interesting overview of how CI can be used within sales and business development. So thank you for that. I'm just going to pick up some. Let's have a look. I think we've got some more questions that have come in. Just give me one moment.
Sure.
Yes, so we've got one come in. Shiv, what is the ideal time in a product's life cycle when a sales team should start thinking about their competitive intelligence?
That's a great question. Um, I think timing we discussed, it was being one of the case studies that you presented. It's been used at the time of product development. So you can really start thinking as early as that as an organization. But in the context of sales teams, specifically, I think, and taking the pharma example here, um, typically when you are in phase 3, when you're trying to get into phase 3 is when you start doing CI, because when you are designing, for example, the protocol for your phase 3, you want to make sure that you are designing the study in a way where you get the relevant data which will ultimately impact your messaging also, such as in this case we saw the hemophilia population was not well represented in our competitors profile studies, right? So you don't want to be in that situation. So typically, yeah, phase 3, because you're about to you're about 1.5 or 2 years from launch, but you have to put together a messaging strategy. You want to design your phase 3 profile, and you want to hire, you want to understand your territories. So all that, keeping that in mind, I think when you start your phase 3 is when you should really think about CI as a sales team.
Hmm. Thank you, Shiv. We've got Michelle back again. I don't know where you fell off
Oh,
to,
no,
but I'm glad to see you back
that's
again.
okay.
It's okay.
Oh, good.
Uh,
So I think you're just asking questions. Helen, feel free to continue with Shiv, and I'll wrap up
yep,
afterwards.
we do have one more question for you, Shiv, and then I'll hand back to Michelle. How can sales teams contribute to an organization's response to competitors?
That's a great question. Yeah, and I think I touched upon it a bit because sales teams are really the eyes and ears of an organization because they are boots on the ground. They are talking to your customers on a daily basis. They can see the competitive product in the market, and they see all the messaging. So all that can be relayed back to, for example, product development, for example, marketing teams. uh, and this is, I think, a big contribution because they can really um, make a difference by, for example, making a new product and understanding where they're lacking, what's the benefits, what's the strengths and weaknesses of their own product. So I think relaying back the information that they hear from the ground is where sales team can really play a big role in the organization.
Great, thank you, Shiv. Now I will hand back to you, Michelle.
Yes, thank you so much to both of you. Really appreciate that full case study. Excellent, very interesting, Shiv. I do see that there was one more general question that came in. So I think I can bring Prakhar back if you're able to join, Prakhar. And I'd like to ask this question of you as one of our final question, I think, of this webinar. And that is, a question came in, what are some of the biggest missed opportunities when it comes to using competitive intelligence across an organization? Oh, you're on mute. Sorry, can't hear you.
My bad. No, I was saying really interesting question. And to answer, I feel many organizations treat competitive intelligence as one of project rather than embedding it in everyday decisions, right? So while one-time insights are important, regular tracking holds even greater value, right? So that's just one area. Another issue we see a lot is keeping CI siloed instead of sharing insights across teams, right? So to drive true value, it has to be spread across functions and teams, right? So that's another issue. Thinking loud. Also, sometimes organizations are only focusing on competitors, right, without linking it to customer needs, right, which again limit impact sometimes, right. And one classic issue is companies often gather intelligence but fail to act on it, right? So making CI just another report. So idea should be to make CI as essential part of organizational strategy, but also act on it what you learn from it. So that's also very important, right? These are some of the classic issues that we come across when we work with different clients, right? So I hope it
Fantastic
helps.
answers. Yes, Parker, those are great answers. So don't keep that information siloed. Make sure it gets spread across the organization. Don't do it as a one-off. Keep it going all the time. And like you say, act on it. I remember, our colleague Mike Radcliffe has this great slide that he likes to when he talks about CI, and he's got a big fish on it. He says CI is like fish. It goes bad if you don't use it very quickly. You've got to act on it. Don't wait and see what the competition is going to do next. Really, really fantastic answers to questions. So, thank you to you, Prakar, to our other colleagues, Parul and Shiv, for sharing your brilliant insights and for demonstrating how competitive intelligence can be leveraged across the organization. Thank you to all of our attendees for joining us. We hope that these case studies have given you some ideas about how you can leverage competitive intelligence, CI, across your entire organization. We will send you a link to the replay. And of course, we're happy to answer any other questions that you might think of after the fact. And if we didn't get them to them today, please do send them over. Thanks again. And we look forward to welcoming you to our next webinar. Goodbye for now.